Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today, this is going to be kind of a fun day. We'll see, it's going to be a little bit of an experiment. I wanted to see when I was running my Anycubic Mono, I was able to put the Flex Buildplate on. So I got this guy here, the Creality Halot Lite, and found a Flex Buildplate that was the right dimension. So I'm going to see how compatible it is today with the Flex Buildplate. So if you are new to resin 3D printing, what a Flex Buildplate does is it makes removing the models much easier. Basically, it's attached to the bottom of your build plate. I'll explain it in a sec when I get it out here. It attaches to the bottom of your build plate, and it's a magnetic surface. And inside that, and it looks like this might be okay, I'm going to double check the sizes, you're able to pop off the magnetic plate and twist it, and then your resin models just kind of pop right off. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. So I just ordered this guy here. This was from a Solvo 3D, and you know what, there's a lot of different products. I've used this one before, that's why I stayed with this one. Now the main issue that I had installing this on my Anycubic Mono was that it did not allow for enough of a drop down for the build plate to get to a Z level when leveling. And so I had to come up with some creative solutions to get the mono to work, but we'll see how this gets addressed here. Now, installing the build plate was relatively easy, but what you'll see is basically something like this, okay? And it's going to have these two little tabs down here. And when you pop this open here for the first time, as you'll see, you're able to peel away, and then you have a magnetic piece with a sticky on the back here, and we're going to be attaching that to the build plate. And then we have the magnetic plate here. And as you can see, you know, it's fully bendable, okay? And it helps with popping that resin print off much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it all together for now. Nice powerful magnet. It does, one of the cool things about this is that it does come with two of them, okay? So basically they're about a $10 each upgrade, so it's about 20 bucks for two. So now let's go ahead and pop this guy off here and get some things started here. Okay, now one of the things that they do recommend for adhesion purposes, and it actually doesn't hurt for the bid as well, is to get a little bit of grit sandpaper here. And we're going to take this now. These screws here, as you can see, I've already loosened. Okay, so just like you would do a normal bed level, we already loosened those up a little bit. So now I'm just going to take this guy off, pop this over here, and we're going to be looking at the bottom here. And if you've done some printing, this already kind of gets scratched quite heavily. Now, what I would like to see though, is to see how much, so when you add this, okay, this is what you're looking at here, and this is part of the problem. So you see it's gonna add about that much of a drop down, if you can kind of see there, yeah. And what that does is, gives you a little bit of adhesion to basically allow this to connect. Now, as long as there's enough flex, we should be okay with leveling this. So first thing I'm going to do is wipe this down really good, because you want it to be nice and dust free. So let's wipe this down as much as we can. I just lost one of the pins. There we go. And we'll put you back in so that we are staying as tight as possible. Okay. There we go. Now it looks like that just dropped off. So just wiping it down really good, because I have done some printing on it, so I want to make sure that, you know, you don't have any layers of stuff there. And you know, while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and just tighten these up just a little bit so I don't lose them as well. So let's pop that down, we'll pop this back. Okay. There we go. It might be a longer video. I apologize if it's getting too long. Well, we're only at 5 minutes so far. Not too bad. Okay, upgrades on these things are always fun. All right, so we got this down. Now, we want to make sure that we have good adhesion. So one of the things it recommends doing is just taking some sandpaper, and we're just going to scratch the bottom of this a little bit, okay? This will allow the adhesive to kind of grab a little bit more. Now, you don't want to destroy it, obviously. Sorry, you might not be able to hear me while I was sanding, but you just want to get a little bit of a grab and make sure that, just make sure that that adhesive, right, let's see here, you can't really see, is nice and good. All right, now we're going to go ahead and take this, we're going to wipe off all the dust. Okay, so now we got some nice good little things there. And now we are going to take the magnetic plate off one more time. Okay, so we got that. And then now we got this adhesive side here. All right, so what I'm going to do now, you really got to make sure that this gets a very good, strong grip on it. So we're going to start off by peeling this back, just like that, comes right off. And then now we are going to set this up here, okay? And I'm going to set just like that, and I'm going to start off at one side. Now the sticky side is up currently, and I'm going to put this lined up here, and then I'm going to just bring the two together. And it looks like it's going to be a pretty good fit for the most part. Okay, this is such a big build plate as it is. Does make for a lot of good differences. Now, I guess if this doesn't work, I will be showing you how to remove and get yourself back to ground zero, but hopefully it will work. Okay, so we're going to want to push this down really, really well. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the magnetic bottom put down here on the back. So this should work when we set this up now. Is we're going to take this and we should just be able to pop that guy right down there. Okay, and what you'll see, for leveling, you want to make sure that this is all set up. So when you set it up, I usually put it on the bottom and then I snap it right into place. Okay, and there we go. We now have an installed magnetic build plate. Now to take this off, once again, you get the little tabs. It's just going to peel down. That comes right off just like so. And then we're going to be able to take this, pop that puppy right on. Okay. Now it also recommends that you sandpaper this side here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and sandpaper. And this will be so that the prints have something good to grab. And you want to kind of go all over the place. It's not, doesn't have to be left, right, or anything like that. Scratches on the build plate actually could help to secure the resin down inside of it a little bit there. So we've done a little bit of scratching, and we don't want all of that aluminum or steel that's coming off in there. So we're going to go ahead and put that up like this. Now all that's left is to, well, level it. So we're going to go ahead and pop this guy back in. And we're going to loosen these screws. This is a very important thing. We're also going to pop this guy off here, because you don't want to, if it happens to not level correctly, you don't want to destroy your resin basin. So, okay, so now let's go ahead and loosen this. That one's loosened, and this one here is loosened. Okay, and it does drop down a little bit, which is good, because we definitely have to have enough room for it to push to its Z point. Okay, so now given that, you'll see can kind of raise a little bit. Now we are going to find the calibration card from Creality. We're going to lay that down there. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and push back to here. We'll go to here, and we're going to go to settings. All right, so now we are going to go to Z-axis movements, okay, and we're going to say leveling, okay. Now, it should go down to stop. And now hopefully you want to be ready to stop, because if it does drop lower than the Z setting, the Z point, it could make, well, my Anycubic had an alarm that kind of went off. And so I had to raise it by putting some spacers, but this doesn't have room for spacers for this one here. So hopefully everything will go smoothly here, and we'll have a nice leveled machine in just a sec with a brand new magnetic build plate. So fingers crossed. All right, here we go. It's going down, as you can see. And we'll see once it gets down to 0. Let's see what it does. Raises. We hit our stopping point, so everything's nice and secure. So I'm going to go ahead and just tighten these guys up. One. Two. You just want to finger tighten these for the most part, but you don't want them to come loose. They do have locking washers that help keep everything secure, but you know. All right, so we got those all locked in. All right, we should be good. This is tight. I'm going to hit back to 0. It's going to pull up. And when that goes back up, it should be ready. And I'm going to do my first couple tests to see if the magnetic build plate went well. And if it did, then it'll make printing so much easier. I highly recommend these. My next video, if you want to stay tuned for it, will be a load test. I have roughly about 30 miniatures loaded onto this build plate, which is quite large, and we're going to do that lovely build test and see how it does. I am also printing that one at 0.02 layer height, which is a very fine resolution. So, all right, if you enjoyed this video, remember, like and subscribe, and we'll see how this did. It looks like everything went smoothly. All right, see you next time.